Alright, round 8. We are on the draw against Jeskai Storm. We have Riveteers Charm, which is crucially important against Goldspan decks. Want this on red. There's not a ton of value in holding up Sokenzan this early in the game, instead of just playing it out. I don't think I ever want double green here, though. Do we have anything in the way of board wipes? I don't believe so. No. Oh, we will put out our board state as quickly as possible. We have Jwari Disruption, Spikefield Hazards, Fading Hopes, Smoldering Eggs, Voltage Surge, Strangle, Prismari Command. But no board wipes in the main. Any in the side? No. Tapped land here means no threat of Goldspan next turn. We will just jam a Face Breaker. And begin with the squad. Alright, that's a fantastic start. Face Breaker strangled. Disappointing. Sentinel strangled. Disappointing but acceptable. I would like to play the Den, but I would also like to spend one less treasure if I need a Riveteers Charm or Goldspan Dragon here. Alright, land it is. Having the Goldspan develop next turn doesn't actually make, like, the world's biggest difference anyway. Because I wouldn't really have the mana that I wanted to use to activate it regardless. Alright, Facebreaker, what do you have for us? A Goldspan Dragon. That's pretty interesting, although what happens if the Facebreaker dies? I won't have the treasure to Riveteers Charm then? Would mean that I'd have to leave back the Sentinel and the Innkeeper. They could Voltage Surge me. Yeah, and they have priority here. So I think I have to leave back the Sentinel. If they kill the Facebreaker and the Sentinel, which they could technically do with 2 Voltage Surges, but I have to imagine that they're more likely to target the Goldspan Dragon if they have a Voltage Surge. Okay, Fading Hope on the Goldspan. We just swing with the Facebreaker. I'm not willing to risk not having 3 mana for the Riveteers Charm. Would I prefer Den over Lair? No, probably Lair, actually. There's a potential that I could animate the Lair for more than 4 on a turn where I play Goldspan Dragon in the future. Alright, Goldspan Isaki. Which means they could wind up having another Goldspan Dragon. They could Fading Hope their Goldspan here, but we'd probably be okay-ish with that. Don't think it's worth trying to play an untapped land to play around the possibility of, if they have another Goldspan, activating Professional Facebreaker and hitting Riveteers Charm. Animate the Den doesn't have a ton of use, but does give me one more mana next turn if I play the Den this turn. I'm basically going to have lethal next turn, probably no matter what. That's not entirely true. I believe it to be safe to play this land and play around the possibility that my top charm is Riveteers Charm. Top card is Riveteers Charm. I think they have to combo off this turn. I don't think they can stop me from having lethal next turn. Okay, Windfall's fine. I believe that makes it even easier. Alright, so we do this, we animate Lair for 4. Well, animate it for 5, really. And that provides a lot of stuff they have to answer. Sweet! Riveteers Charm is a good card to have against Goldspan Dragon. Alright, max counterspells, Nyxkin Veils, Riveteers Charms, cut Ziatora, cut Halana and Alena.
Announcement received.
Trim Esika's Chariot.
Round timer started.
Removal. Smoldering Egg is technically something that exists as a 4-of post-board. I have an incentive to play like Infernal Grasps to answer. But I don't have anything I want to cut. On the draw, I could probably chim a Chariot for an Infernal Grasp as a 1-of. Maybe I switch that around on the play. Not sure. Operating by instinct here. That's not gonna do it. That will do it. Definitely getting rid of the land here. I guess it's the forest. Doesn't truly matter. They don't have anything that cares about the number of basics in my deck. I believe I'm supposed to play Innkeeper on 2 over Magda, so that I can play Magda holding up Snakeskin Veil. Dry Disruption. That's fine. I'll have Magda plus Snakeskin Veil anyway next turn. We have not drawn very much, which is concerning. I don't have anything to do next turn, or I would probably Snakeskin Veil there, but odds are pretty good they just have another removal spell, so I might as well kind of bide my time. They did, in fact, have another removal spell. Yeah, now's the part where the windfalls get pretty bad. Might be able to Shatterskull that Smoldering Egg, though. Not that I want to do that here, I don't think. Interesting. Alright, now we have some options to consider. I could go for this Facebreaker and attacks, which starts getting us really close to activating Magda, although I don't have Ziatora. Into open mana that gets to do a lot with Smoldering Egg. I could just Shatterskull the Smoldering Egg and get most of my stuff blown up in response. And that's probably the right move. They can't Draw Disruption me. They could have Negate, but I don't think they would have room for that. Yeah, there's the egg flip. And now begins the my stuff dying in response. I wonder if I was supposed to Snakeskin Magda in response to that? Alright. Yeah, that probably kills me. Huh. That was all you had? Everything else is a sorcery, meaning Leirs or Goldspans? I can't really beat either of them. Okay, absolutely nothing is an interesting take I wasn't expecting. wow. Okay, that's not what I expected. Alright, well, that works. I'm very, very, very glad that was not a Chariot. So pretty strong odds they have another Hullbreaker Horror then, if they decided to bring those in. It also means that I probably want the second Infernal Grasp. Do I sack the Goldhound here? Going to 2 and dying to any spell sounds awful. I think I sack the Goldhound. Yeah. No luck hitting any of the interaction. Lair does mean that they have to respect... Okay, so they just don't have any spells. Okay.
Announcement received.
Okay, so if they don't have any spells at all, does that mean that I have lethal? I'm gonna get 4 mana when I attack, meaning if I spend 2 mana animating Lair now, then activate Lair again, I'm gonna have the ability to animate Lair as a 5/5, which is exactly enough for lethal if they have 0 interaction, and if they had a single spell they would have killed me, so I think that just works. Oh no, they can block the Lair. And then I would not have lethal. If that happened, I'd have to activate Facebreaker to try to find lethal off the top. Or, well, a way to interact with Ashmath Dragon. But mostly they just missed that, which is cool. Sweet! I'm glad that came up during practice. Or I would have missed it. Alright, we are on the play in round number I forget against Mono White Aggro, which makes this a truly curious hand. I think I'm actually going to keep. Not having green mana kind of sucks, but like Goldhound and a Goldspan Dragon might be good against them. Might also be awful. We'll see. I haven't actually like tested against Mono White much of at all. Do I want to hold on to this Shatterskull Smashing when my hand is entirely red mana anyway? I'm probably fine with it. Okay, 3/1 lifelinker. Do I want to Shatterskull Smashing that? I don't believe so. What kind of protection do they have? 1 copy of Valorous Stance. Alright. We're just gonna do this now then. This is like the weirdest game of Magic I've played with this deck in a very long time. I'm just playing a mono red deck. No! Okay, the Elite Spellbinder is actually a serious problem. If they have a Valorous Stance... Okay, no, so if they take the Goldspan... That does mean that I get to play Ziatora next turn now. What a strange game of Magic. Alright. Oh, should I not have attacked to play on Wandering Emperor? No, they have Spellbinder taking Ziatora. Okay. What a strange game of Magic.
Announcement received. Round timer started.
Okay. It's kind of absolutely stellar. Alena, blocking 2 Elite Spellbinders, kind of forcing the Brutal Cathar here. If I hit an untap land, I get to play Goldspan Dragon. It's like the weirdest game of Magic ever. Okay, so this means Valorous Stance, almost certainly. Or Eiganjo. Am I okay with them Eiganjoing Halana and Alena here? Costs a lot of time. Still prevents the damage. I set them up with a 2-turn clock. I think I'm okay with that. Oh. Or they didn't have anything? Could just be a bluff, I guess. Okay, let's see. So this probably means Wandering Emperor, huh? How do I want to handle that? Could just activate Sokenzan, put some counters on stuff, and then swing with everything that isn't Halana and Alena. It's kind of a weird mood, but I sort of like it better than every other option. I forgot it's cheaper because of Halana and Alena, so I get to play Ranger class too. Okay, there's the Wandering Emperor. Down ticks and exiles a 4/4. Upticks on Elite Spellbinder, swings if they want to, but pretty bad on the backswing. Yeah, chooses to downtick to make a 2/2, understandably. Luminarch Aspirant. Okay. Many blockers. We have 2 mana held up, which could be Valorous Stance. I think I'm just going to swing with as many 3/3s as I can manage. and the Goldhound. If they want to trade Luminarch Aspirant for the Goldhound, I'm fine with that. Still just means they're taking a bunch of damage. What a weird game of Magic. This is the strangest mono red versus mono white game I've ever played. So do we have a Valorous stance protecting one of our creatures here? Probably 3/3 on the ground? Yeah, which means my Goldspan is safe. Could activate Ranger class to use my mana more efficiently here, although that gets me further away from Goldspan. I think that I'm not looking for a card advantage right now when my ability to present lethal on the board is already so strong. Brutal Cathar hits Goldhound to deny me mana, understandably. Intrepid Adversary has lifelink, so we try to hit an untapped land to win the game. Or a Goldspan off the top to win the game. That works too. I don't feel like I played Magic. I feel like Magic played me. I had no, plan. I just played cards. Okay, let's see. Is there any reason for Unleash the Inferno? So assuming they board into 4 Skyclave Apparitions, 1 Portable Hole, 1 Valorous Stance, perhaps? Then I feel like this mostly turns into a mid-range match where I want to try to do Magda stuff into Ziatora. I'm going to get continually disrupted by Spellbinder. Cards I expect to come out, probably Usher of the Fallen. I could try to do mid-range things by bringing in Riveteers Charm, but there's nothing that I particularly want to cut. Goldhound could be viewed as unnecessary. Snakeskin Veil could be viewed as fine. I think if anything what I want to do is have more voltage surges, but there's not actually anything that I truly want to cut. I might just be running this back for the most part. Only 2 Adelines mean that Dragon's Fire might be fine to cut. Maybe not. I'm on the draw, I could get away with a little more removal. I don't truly want to cut Goldhound. It turned out to be rather useful in terms of what it was representing that game. It was also a lot better with Facebreaker, which we just happened to never draw. I could probably trim 1 Goldspan Dragon and be fine with that in the interest of having slightly more removal on the draw. Okay, so this does need to draw a land, but Goldhound and a Facebreaker into Chariot is a plan, one that will probably be disrupted, but hopeful initiate. I do not get to interact with that meaningfully. I could Voltage Surge instead of playing Goldhound, but I'd just rather play the Goldhound, and then Voltage Surge the next thing. No desire for blocks. Intrepid Adversary. Very well. Ooh. Fascinating. It's very tempting to hold out Voltage Surge here, but I'd rather just play Magda. Holding back the Goldhound lets me represent a block on the Intrepid Adversary, which stops them from gaining 3 life, which I kind of dig. Elite Spellbinder. This is fine. Probably takes Voltage Surge. Maybe he takes Facebreaker? Taking Chariot or Goldspan I don't think accomplishes very much here. Chariot's not an unreasonable thing to take, but I've got a duplicate. What I'm representing here is just swinging with Magda, trading with the adversary, and then playing Chariot post-combat, even if I don't hit a land drop. Which the opponent might be able to outvalue depending on what's in their hand. And I take the Goldspan. That was the one that I was expecting would do the least. Okay. No land kinda bites. So we trade with the Initiate. Oh, with the adversary, really? Okay. Well, I got a plan and I'm in on it. Brutal Cathar is relatively brutal. Would love to hit an untapped land. Thank you, deck. Do I want a red source here? Probably not. Alright, so we get to play Facebreaker, Crew Chariot, trades if needs be, make a 2-2 to block Brutal Cathar if they want to swing with it next turn. They don't. So we hit, we make a treasure, we get a Voltage Surge. I have a Voltage Surge to hit a Brutal Cathar, not a Skyclave Apparition. But all is well. I believe I just want to race here. If they pass without doing anything, then I want to Voltage Surge the Brutal Cathar at the end of turn. Which is unfortunate, but I don't really want to let that flip. Play Magda. Crew with Magda, copy treasure. Do I swing with Facebreaker into Wandering Emperor? No, I don't believe so. Well, maybe I can. They're gonna hit Chariot anyway, right? No, I don't think I'm willing to. I think I'm copying the treasure here. And this gives me 4 treasures to play the other Chariot post-combat, regardless of what they target with Wandering Emperor.
Run away. You'll be safe. This is what you get for hurting my people.
I could also not play Chariot and represent activating Magda for Ziatora next turn. Specifically, only if they don't top deck removal for Magda. No, that's not really good enough because I'd still need a way to tap the Magda, which I don't have without Chariot. Okay, with Chariot it is. So hopefully Initiate can swing as a 3-4. I could Crew Chariot to block it. They can remove counters. Oh. Okay. They can make a lot of counters here. This is actually pretty annoying.
We've got the edge in this fight.
No, So swing with just Spellbinder, which is representing lethal next turn now. We do have the land for Halana and Alena. They aren't representing Cave next turn just yet. So activating Chariot probably forces them to remove the counters, which shrinks the Spellbinder to 4. Wandering Emperor and Luminarch represent putting it back up to 6. Halana and Alena represents a chump block, which means I could just go all at face. I can't tap. I don't believe they let me crew the Chariot. Or I don't believe they let me attack with the Chariot, so I want to put the counters on something else. Probably Facebreaker? I believe I want to throw Facebreaker at Wandering Emperor. And then 1, 2 cats at face. Maybe just 1 cat at face. Okay.
I'll be back.
We have no Wandering Emperor. Land gives us Cave activation. Lead Spellbinder out of Halana and Alena range. So I can play Goldspan, but they have enough mana to kill me with Cave anyway. So what I really need is to get Ziatora, which I cannot currently do. Which means I'm going to be activating Facebreaker. I don't have real answers to the Cave, but I do have Reach chump blockers that I can hit. Another Magda, that doesn't help. Ziatora, the weaken hardcast, helps a lot. Okay. So I can fling Facebreaker at the Spellbinder. I only really need 2 blockers on the ground no matter what. So I think this swing is safe. Alright, so I have blockers for everything. Brutal Cathar on Ziatora does not get them through for enough, because they can't activate Cave at that point. Potentially, I might have to play around Wandering Emperor, but I think I can do that by not swinging with Ziatora. Actually, I can probably play around that just by swinging with Ziatora. They go up to 9, 2 blocks, plus Goldspan is still 10? Yeah, alright. So Wandering Emperor isn't an out for them. Oh, Facebreaker! Drawing so many cards that didn't matter, but all he needs to draw is one that does! Hoorah! I'm glad I have a deck that can carry me, because I don't feel like I was entirely coherent during that match. Alright, we are on round 10. I am on the draw, but we get to do very fun things. Alright, this probably gets voltage surged, which is disappointing, but understandable. We are playing against Grixis Vampires, which plays a lot of removal and a lot of mid-range card advantage-y stuff. What do we have as far as 2 mana things that use blue go? 1 Spell Pierce. Could develop the Ranger class. Has to be exactly Voltage Surge to punish me here. Possibly just wants to hold up Voltage Surge and then play Expressive Iteration on their turn. Still, I think, especially given the second Magda, I'm just supposed to play it out. Oh, cool, no Voltage Surge number 2. Fable, sure. Alright. Dragon's Fire is more than fine. Desire no mana advantage for my opponent. I could hold on to this treasure and then play Goldspan Dragon next turn. They have 2 copies of Infernal Grasp, but no black mana yet. 1 Hogger Mauling, but no black mana yet. I think I want to try to hold on to this and actually play the Goldspan next turn. They discard 2 black cards, which might mean they're still constrained on mana. Although that's likely to change, having just drawn a bunch of cards. Corpse Appraiser. Very well. This makes it difficult to attack with the Magda. Understandably so. Alrighty then. We will play Goldspan Dragon. Debate whether I should sack the Magda here, given that I've got a duplicate. The extra treasure lets me play Ranger class and upgrade it this turn. That's not terribly relevant. I don't think it's relevant enough to matter. Yeah, Fable's gonna be a problem. Okay, so the Riveteers Charm either kills the Reflection or the Corpse Appraiser. At instant speed here, they could have Spell Pierce. So Infernal Grasp the Dragon, we get a treasure. I believe I need to make them sack one of these 2 cards. I can't let them have this engine. Doing this in response, so if they Spell Pierce the Riveteers Charm, I only have to sack 1 treasure for it. Okay. Do I want to trade my Magda for a Corpse Appraiser while getting a treasure? I do not believe so. Okay. Interesting. Immediate draw go. Evelyn the Covetous, huh? That's going to be a problem. So it's a 2/5 with Flash, which means swinging with Magda isn't very beneficial. They're going to get a lot of cards. I can swing with Lair of the Hydra. I could try to develop some card advantage by upgrading Ranger class instead. Lair swings for 5. Represents lethal next turn, which kind of forces them to keep back with stuff, but the card advantage they're going to get from Evelyn is hard for me to handle. No, I think that means that upgrading Ranger class is my move here. That's pretty awful. Okay. I guess the nice news about Ranger class is I have the ability to play around what they're going to hit at first. So there's 1 a turn. Alright, Goldspan off the top's pretty good. Fable's going to become annoying eventually. Jaspera Sentinel does block Goldspan, which I do not love. Could swing with Magda into Evelyn. Do not like that. Next turn, they're probably going to wind up exiling my Chariot here. If they don't interact with me in any way and I draw the Chariot, I can activate Magda. So like on board with no interaction, I think I have lethal next turn, but that's pretty unlikely. Well, on board accounting for the card that I'm going to draw and the card in my hand. Okay. So that's a meat hook for 5, huh? I can... Oh, bummer. Alright, without any other toys, that means no Ziatora. This is only 4. Huh. So they're empty-handed. I'm top decking 1 card next turn. They're not going to be able to have lethal. Playing Magda here gives me 4 treasures, which isn't enough to do anything meaningful. Well, I think I still probably want to maximize the overall number of blockers that I've got. Still presenting lethal in the air next turn, doing it this way. I guess this isn't maximizing the number of blockers that I've got, but it's minimizing the amount of mana that they have. Forcing a chump block. The Fables are going to be summoning sick. My life's pretty healthy. Meat hook for 6. Gains them 6 life, which means I won't have lethal, but I'd still just be in a pretty commanding position against that, because I could immediately fire up Lair and attack with Chariot. Still hold up Voltage Surge for the Fable on their turn. Bloodtooth Harvester gives them an Evelyn hit that takes the Voltage Surge. It doesn't kill Goldspan, though. Okay, that's pretty bad. So they get to... Magda on top's good, though. So they get to Soul Harvest, Goldspan, hold up Voltage Surge. If they get back another... They might have enough mana to do this. They Soul Harvest, killing Goldspan Dragon, giving me a treasure. Play another Vampire, exile Magda, and kill my Magda that's in play. And I can't get Ziatora for lethal. Yowzas. How absolutely brutal. Okay. Still leaves me the out of Goldspan or Ziatora off the top. Or another Magda, although I'm not sure if I even have another Magda. I do have one more Magda. Or the out of them not killing Magda with the Voltage Surge. I need to not actually swing with this Chariot. Oh, I have to swing with the Chariot. Or else I have to connect with a creature. Huh. I need to be able to crew the Chariot post-combat. One, two, three, four. 5 attackers. They can block with everything. Oh, do I just barely not have enough here? And I'm 1 mana short? I think I have to do it this way. So if they hit the Facebreaker here, what do I do? I have to attack with the Chariot to get one more treasure. I can probably just do that. I won't have lethal, but I'll just be in a fine-ish position. Okay, so now we swing with everybody, and I'm left with the choice of whether to put the Ranger class counter on the Chariot to force a better set of blocks to kill it, or on the Halana and Alena to give it first strike to force a better set of blocks to kill it. So now with one Voltage Surge... Oh, they have Infernal Grasp up. I didn't even realize they'd hit that. This makes things harder. Okay, so let's see. Let's copy a treasure. Put the counter on Halana and Alena. I don't think I can put it on Chariot if they can Infernal Grasp the Chariot. They Voltage Surge the Magda. Okay. Interesting. It's pretty sloppy on my part. I should have activated Facebreaker before blocks. Wait, did they still block everything? Oh, no, not one cat. Got it. So they're not going to necessarily have a vampire to trigger Evelyn. Alright, Shatterskull post-combat here is really good. That gets to kill the Evelyn. Okay, that makes our state pretty solid, I feel. Wait, where did they wind up with an extra treasure? Oh, they cast the Voltage Surge, not the Infernal Grasp. Right. Okay. Alright, what cards do you got in your hand, opponent? I can attack with all of my creatures as 3/3s if I want to. Well, one creature is a 3/3 and everything else... Well... One creature is a 2/2 and everything else is lethal, which forces blocks. Okay. My life total is still pretty healthy. We worked our way through most of the reflections. Voltage Surge that we're not going to have access to this turn. Could crew Chariot. We know about 1 Infernal Grasp. 2 Infernal Grasps have been used. They can play Evelyn into Infernal Grasp. I might not be capable of beating that. I sort of want to Lair crew Chariot. Pump a cat. Swing. I don't really think I get to beat another Evelyn here, most likely. Cool. Cool. That's not Evelyn. So we're on Chump Block 5/5 at the moment. I don't believe they would have had Voltage Surge, or they would have just used it. Which I think means I am on plan... Pump the Cat forces Trade, Chump, go to 1. Pump Halana and Alena forces Chump. I think it's probably better to force Chump if they don't have any other interaction. Although the downside of this is if they do have other interaction, then they get to eat my 2/2. I think I'm just going to hold this in bluff. I'm not foreseeing a world where me having 1 extra mana next turn matters. It could possibly. There are worlds in which I top deck Facebreaker, but I think the value of bluffing is marginally higher here than having 1 more mana. If we play Facebreaker, rattle off a ton of treasures, and hit a land drop that we want to be able to play for 1 more mana and have that matter. Okay, 2 mana remaining. I don't know how they get out of this with this amount of mana. I just need to activate this for more than Voltage Surge. I only need to do it for 4 to have lethal, but 5 means they can't Voltage Surge when I attack with it. Before this Ranger class counter gets put on it. Jeez, what a grindy match! Goodness gracious! Humana. Okay, I want Dragon's Fire out. Meat Hook in the sideboard, Mind Flayer, Soul Transfer possibilities, a Braid. So, I want Unleash the Inferno, Riveteers Charm, Snakeskin Veils. I don't particularly want Goldhound. It's not bad against them necessarily, but it's pretty rough against triple Meat Hook. Goldspan when they can't interact with the air seems pretty decent. I don't necessarily dislike drawing Ziatora. It's challenging for them to kill. They have 3 hard removal spells for it. 5, counting Soul Transfer. Alena I can probably trim. Trimming Ziatora is tough. I don't want to trim any of the lower cost stuff. In fact, I almost want another Voltage Surge. think I don't want to trim Goldspan. Do I just trim the other Halana and Alena? It was really good that game, but I don't expect it to be very good terribly often. It's good against Meathook, though. Oh no, everything I cut feels wrong. Definitely can't cut a land. I don't know. Maybe Snakeskin's wrong. But it only ever really is a 1-for-1. And I'm sort of getting the impression that maybe this matchup comes down to card advantage. Huh. Okay. This is not a good hand. I'd love to top deck a Jaspera Sentinel, though. Oh well. I wonder if I'm supposed to represent Voltage Surge there. I don't think it would ever change their play. But I might be correct. Riveteers Charms are definitely awkward. I imagine Bloodtithe the Harvester just kills Magda here. Yeah. If they pass with 2 mana held up, then I think I just pass on Riveteers Charm. Counterspell? Nope. Cool. Land Chariot. Works for me. Disdainful Stroke. Okay. That's fine. I got my 2-for-1. Prosperous Innkeeper, and then I think I gotta pass, because this looks like an Evelyn turn, and I kind of have to Riveteers Charm Evelyn. Another Evelyn! That's real bad. I'd like a removal spell for that. How deeply, 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 deeply troublesome. They didn't have, oh, they do have Voltage Surge up because they can spend any color of mana on it. Oofa doofa. Life is currently pretty tricky. All 3 Evelyns. Well, the good news is that means that if I find another charm to kill the Evelyn, at least I've dealt with every Evelyn, and I just have to deal with the rest of the deck. Yowzas. Alright, so... good news is that got rid of a forest for us. Bad news is that kills the wolf and doesn't leave me with any good blocks. So my life total is about to become a resource we have to care about. And the opponent gets another Fable. And I don't have any cards that do anything. So presumably Ziatora is the top deck that could have merit, but mostly we just lose at this point, I believe. Or I'm actually supposed to board an Infernal Grasp to have more answers to Evelyn? How much does the match hinge on Evelyn? This game and the last game certainly seem to have, but I'm not entirely convinced that that's typical. It might be typical? Well, at least they keep getting rid of all of our lands for us. Not all of them. Okay, Ziatora, you're a magic card. How many cards do my opponents work with? Voltage Surge does not help. The Disdainful Stroke number 2 also doesn't help? No, they only have one Disdainful Stroke. One in the main? No. So they used their one Disdainful Stroke already. Oh, okay. I should play a land to play around that. Apparently. Fair enough. I don't think I could win anyway. Oh, I also had Unleash the Inferno, I suppose, which is another answer to Evelyn. I think Voltage Surge is less important when I'm on the play, although having answers to Fable is nice. I'm not convinced this is correct, and I don't know how overboard on it I want to go. Unleash the Inferno as an answer to Mirror Breaker might be overkill, but maybe not. It's cool at basically any point in the game to get to do that, if they have a Fable on board. Do I really want the second Snakeskin Veil? So much of the removal is so cheap. It's certainly good with Goldspan. Alright. And at this point I don't really want one Voltage Surge, I don't think. I think I'll take the Infernal Grasp over it. I think Infernal Grasp killing Ziatora is enough reason to run it over Dragon's Fire that most of the time will only deal 4 damage. Yeah, okay. I think this is the plan. Alright, let's see Bonker's hand, please. Bonker's good. Take the play. This is potentially very bad. It's good with most any land draw, though. Alright, I'm gonna have to trust. I'd love any land draw that isn't mono red right now. Or mono green, actually, was what I needed it to not be, but thank you, deck, for obeying. So politely. Lentide Harvester, huh? Okay. Could Riveteers Charm here. think I'd rather Facebreaker. Okay. If they Blood Teth Harvester to kill my Jaspera Sentinel, then my Professional Facebreaker gets through and I get to post-combat in Esika's Chariot anyway. So that's sweet. Alternatively, pre-combat Halana and Alena. Pump Facebreaker, make it a higher priority to kill. Get a treasure so I can Goldspan Dragon next turn. I like that more. This gets the Facebreaker out of Voltage Surge range. Gives us Goldspan Dragon into Chariot next turn if they can't answer the Facebreaker. And I imagine they're probably going to answer Halana and Alena. Corpse Appraiser is not a card I care about. Voltage Surge the Halana and Alena. Sacking the blood token. Oh, Infernal Grasp. Okay. That works for me too. So we get Goldspan, swing for 8, play Chariot. That's just a lot of board. So they could meet Hook for 4. They cannot meet Hook for 4. Their life has become difficult. I don't even think that I block the 2-2. Well, I can block the 2-2 with the Chariot if they swing. I'm not scared about them killing the Chariot. If they're not killing the cat. I wouldn't block with Chariot if they hadn't spent any mana. Okay, so they're representing Voltage Surge on Goldspan. I could play another Chariot, Crew Chariot, swing with the squad. They Voltage Surge Goldspan, double block Facebreaker with Corpse Appraiser 2-2, block Cat with 3-3, take 2 down to 3. Oh, no, they also have to block Chariot. Okay, so that's pretty tough for them to handle. Is that better for me than Riveteers Charm? I sort of suspect so. I have not done the exact math. This does not look like a removal spell for Goldspan, which is probably a pretty good sign. Okay. Alright, round 11, final standard round. Can we go undefeated in standard today? We need to be on the play. That's good. We're playing against Izzet Mill, by the way, which is a truly wild, fascinating matchup where these are not good cards. I believe in the top decks. Deciding whether they want to Spike Field Hazard the Goldhound. They elect to do... Oh, Flame Blessed Bolt it before it can attack. Dang. My clock. Alright, my life total is pretty much irrelevant, so let's play around top decking the Jund Charm next turn. And not play out the Shatterskull Smashing. I get to cast Goldspan into their big score Windfall turn, which is nice. But yeah, if I don't top deck action, I'm in trouble. I do need to have a clock against them. They have plenty of basics, so Boseiju will not be targeting their lands. That is a clock. They played out one Spike Field. Do they have another? I think this is a mistake. I should have played Darkbore Pathway so that if I can't top deck a creature, land, and a Jund Charm. Never mind. That's not relevant. Yeah, 2 Flame Blessed Bolts. Disappointing. No, blue mana. Alright, 4 drop. Ugh. Yeah, that's pretty bad. Silungi Vision, which implies they're either looking for burn down the house or big score, or just have a lot of lands in hand. Jwari Disruption, that's actually like super good in this position. I'm still gonna have to run Goldspan out into the Jwari Disruption weirdly enough, because I don't want them playing big score or burn down, or big score or unexpected windfall on this turn. I'd rather get my Goldspan Jwari disrupted than let that happen. I'm gonna play untapped. Yeah. Okay, well, that's an improvement. So now I can play around the Jwari. And because they tapped out for Celestis, they are not representing unexpected windfall anyway. We have 2 Abrade that can kill Chariot. Expressive. Okay, there's a start for me. Giving them a lot of turns of me not doing anything. Unlikely that I want to play Ziatora this turn. Not into Jwari Disruption. So I'm probably just playing land Goldspan. Now the most likely... Ooh, Lair's interesting. If I play Goldspan and go to Jwari Disruption this turn, then crew Chariot and get Chariot abraded, it's kind of a bummer. If I play Goldspan and they windfall, is that worse for me, though? Think I'm supposed to play Goldspan. Still gives me enough mana to play Ziatora around Jwari Disruption next turn. Oh, they didn't windfall. Oh, wow. Okay, just burn down the house. Sweet! Burn down doesn't answer Ziatora. Although Fading Hope would. believe I'm flinging this Jaspera Sentinel at face. Maybe I'm swinging the Chariot at face? Actually? Yeah, I think I actually am. This makes the Lair better and future Goldspans better, and I don't really have a way to crew Chariot that's meaningful, since at this point Ziatora is just going face. So they basically need 2 Fading Hopes at this point, which they could have, but if they had... No, they can't have 2 Fading Hopes. They would have Fading Hoped Ziatora last turn before it could fling anything, if they had a Fading Hope. They could burn down the house to make blockers on the ground to answer Lair, and then Fading Hope Ziatora. They could also just combo me off and hope that 2 Galvanics plus Tasha's Hideous Laughter kills me. I do not know the math on whether that works. I'll leave that as an exercise to the viewer, but my deck actually has a lot of high CMC cards in it, weirdly enough. Okay, opponent gains life up to 5. Goldspan is a, like, stellar best possible draw? Do I just want to Lair for 4? That leaves me with 6 mana to replay Ziatora? What do they have that can do 4 damage here? Nothing really. I think 4 is fine. I have no idea what they could possibly have to get out of this. Otawara to bounce Goldspan, Fading Hope to bounce Ziatora. I guess, does it? And then a removal spell? Oh, Invoke Calamity. Oh, right, that can cast Burn Down at instant speed. Shoot. Oh, I totally messed up. Should have animated Lair for 6. I forgot that's how that works. Wow, alright. Punted this one into the stratosphere, but that's a learning experience. Well, I should play around Jund Charm and Facebreaker since those are my outs at this point. This gets a tiny bit hard. That's probably enough to kill me. I'm assuming. A harsh way to punt, but an educational way to punt nonetheless. Alright, let's see. I want Disdainful Strokes and Negates. This I am confident of. I do not want Voltage Surges, I do not want Dragon's Fires. This I am also confident of. I do not hate Riveteers Charm, but neither do I want them strongly. Snakeskin Veil is a card that I am probably into. I do need answers to Smoldering Eggs and Hullbreaker Horrors, which probably come in Lair as well, which makes Riveteers Charms and Infernal Grasps kind of interesting. We have 2 Abrades that are convenient answers to Halana and Alena, but that's it. They also represent getting stuff out of range of Burn Down the House, which could be relevant. I'm willing to cut a Ziatora. So at this point, Infernal Grasps, Riveteers Charms, and Snakeskin Veils are the cards that are most interesting to me. I feel like I want one more Infernal Grasp, for sure, but I really don't know what to cut for it. Is it truly the other Halana and Alena? I don't think that's correct. Could be the other Ranger class, but I'm not actually sure that's correct either. I don't really want to trim one Goldhound. I do think that it still does a lot of impressive things. I think it's cut Ranger class for Infernal Grasp. Not bringing in Snakeskin Veil here feels really weird, but... yeah, maybe that's wrong. Maybe I'm only supposed to not play Snakeskin Veil on the draw, but... having answers to Smoldering Egg just feels more important. Yeah, okay. We'll attempt. That's a brutal amount of nothing. I think I'm supposed to run into Jorai Disruption. Okay. Any removal spell they have for Facebreaker would have been worse if I just leveled up Ranger class. Why the pause on my upkeep? I mean, Disdainful Stroke seems pretty likely. I wish I could level up this Ranger class and play the Crucible this turn. I don't really want to play the Chariot into Disdainful Stroke. No acceleration and no blue mana yet is awkward. But opponent's taking their time and not windfalling anytime soon. Do I go for Chariot if they don't represent Burn Down the House here? Or if they don't represent Counter Magic? Because they can represent Burn Down the House next turn. Which might mean it's better to save Chariot for after Burn Down the House. Depends on what else we draw. Okay, that makes me go for Chariot for sure then. Yeah, so I use the Disdainful Stroke. Big score, hold up 2 treasures, try to make a land drop. Okay, blue source is very nice. Play around Jwari by playing the Chariot first. Then upgrading Ranger class. I mean, blue source isn't actually nice because they can just burn down the house and then I lose, but, you know. Top decks and all that. Flameless Bolt implies that they're not going to try to heal me here with Burn Down the House, which is a good sign. Sokenzan is a land rather than a set of chump blockers is concerning. We're representing Hullbreaker plus 1 drop, which would be pretty brutal. Would love to find a removal spell if that's the case. Otherwise, Negate or Disdainful Stroke would be delightful too, against everything that isn't Hullbreaker Horror. Facebreaker. That's not the most useful. But it does allow some attackers. Okay. Galvanic Invoke Calamity? Oh my. So, casting big score Galvanic? No, big score Abrade. Okay. I'm looking for something else to cast off the other Invoke, or possibly just casting something from hand. Either one would be a bummer. Not even going for anything else from hand. Okay, that's horrifying. What does that even mean? Flameless Bolt means they don't have the Huh. That feels like an error. Like the big score instead of the Flame Blessed Bolt on the first one would have been a better idea. Maybe not. Okay. Do I upgrade Ranger class or hold up Facebreaker activation here? That's a legitimately very tough choice. I think I hold up Facebreaker activation. I'm representing Jund Charm, Infernal Grasp, and Counterspell off the top deck. If they play around a counterspell by casting double Burn Down the House, Goldspan is currently lethal. Although they could have Fading Hope to answer that. 1 Burn Down the House. Okay. Looking for a counterspell. Jund Charm would be okay too. Nope, just a Magda. Harsh. There's the egg. Alright, top decking finds Goldhound. Goldspan off the top is good. But they're going to have a lot of resources to work with now. Especially since they can flip egg with Windfall plus Galvanic. Expressive Iteration's a good start that implies they don't have Windfall. Goldspan attacking as a 5/5 means that it doesn't get traded with by a flipped egg. Okay. Laughter. Is 2 Laughters lethal, or are we just flipping egg? We are just flipping egg. And then Spike Fielding Facebreaker? Yes. And now we hold back Ashmouth to play around Goldspan top deck. Jund Charm. Well, that's something. I don't see a lot of benefit to playing Goldhound here. It's very, very, very likely to just get killed by a random Ashmouth trigger anyway. Interesting to note that Hideous Laughter stayed in despite dragons coming in. We just have the second Laughter. We do. Wow. I got absolutely bodied. Ooh, punting game 1 hurts, but losing that while I'm on the play means that I probably wouldn't have won the match anyway. I don't know. I had a pretty bad start in game 2. That don't feel great, but it happens.